Welcome! You know what? Does it even matter anymore? Does it even matter if I say something after this? It's only going to get worse from here, Mike.
Well, we can always say, welcome 3D!
I might be doing that a lot because...
Because the movie did it a lot.
Yeah, tonight we are continuing our Jawstoberfest. Great name. I love that name. Kudos, sir. Kudos.
I like it.
We are continuing our Jawstoberfest with Jaws 3D.
Well, we saw Jaws 3, but it was Jaws 3 trying still to be Jaws 3D.
Okay, yeah. So, all right, opening question out of the gate. First time you saw it?
I was probably 5 or 6. This is the movie that I have my first memory of actually seeing a movie.
Oh.
Yeah, the first cognitive memory I have of seeing a movie was a particular scene in this one.
Okay.
And it scared me shitless so much that it's still up there.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's the scene where what's it? Kay and Michael are coming down the stairs, and they found the body, and they pull the sheet off, and that scene sent me down to my room, and I had nightmares for 15 years.
Oh man. Okay. So this was the first time I saw this was on HBO when it premiered in 1984 on HBO. Now, it was not billed as Jaws 3D, which it was, released originally as. They had removed the 3D layer, but stupid me, I was 12, I had no idea. So I had actually had a pair of 3D glasses, like the red and the blue 3D glasses, and I sat watching the entire movie with those glasses on, like the nerdy virgin that I was, and just being like, this is bullshit. Nothing's coming out.
This just looks shitty in red and green. What the hell?
Yeah, it did not help me at all. And it really just explains a lot about me in general. But I will say, though, this is the first Jaws release that I didn't have a subconscious terror of through its advertising. So Jaws 1 and Jaws 2, I was a lot younger.
Yeah,
I was terrified by that. I didn't want to go to my local beach, which is a freshwater beach. The whole thing, bathtub toilets.
Oh yeah. For me, it was I was okay with bathtubs and toilets, swimming pools up to waist length.
Yeah.
Ocean, forget it. I wasn't going.
I mean, I remember when I must have been in kindergarten, so I think that Jaws 2 may have I think Jaws 2 had just been released by that point. My teacher played us a record, and it was like one of those things where they're interviewing people about this shark, and instead of it being people, they play like little bits of songs, like, so the one who was attacked, what was she wearing? She wore an itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot, but like that kind of.
Yeah, I've heard one of those. I know they've made like a few of them, but the only one I know is
that's
Mr.
always
Jaws.
The go-to. What was the Queen of England wearing? She wore an itsy bit. But at the end of it, the guy turned. I'm going to turn my microphone and interview the next person. Oh no, it's a shark! And I heard him getting eaten by the shark.
Yep.
Just this no, and I just.
Fair enough.
Quietly wet myself and ran from the classroom.
If you want to hear it again, it's called Mr. Jaws.
Yes. I'm sure I could find it somewhere. Because
I know it's on YouTube. I listened to it about a week ago.
Did you?
Yep.
Fuck. Oh, fuck. I don't know. You know what? It's almost like, I don't know. Do I want to revisit it? It's like, I don't watch Poltergeist for this reason,
It actually gave me some laughs, so it still stands up a little bit.
Okay. Well, again, I was like 6, so
I feel for you, man.
Yes, yeah. So we all have our emotional scars from this stupid shark movie. And by stupid, I mean
yeah.
So we've been watching these on Netflix. They are available, and Netflix will helpfully tell you these are available until October 31st. Thanks. November 1st comes around, you're fucked. But
no more Jaws Revenge. Whoa!
I want to watch more Jaws 3D. So I don't know what print Netflix is using, because watching this on Netflix, it's very obvious, and not the ways that you would think of when you're dealing with a 3D movie that has been converted to 2D. Yeah. We'll get to that in just a second. There is a haze. There's like this funny sheen on everything except whatever is in central focus.
Yeah. Just watching it, it felt like the right and left edge of the screen had this double vision thing going on.
It did. It's almost like the person whose job it was to do that looked at every frame and was like, fuck it. Just like ran an eraser down the side of just this film. I know that's not how it works, but it's gone.
He just took that check, cashed it, and ran.
Yeah. He just jumps out of an airplane, double birds are flying. I really hope that ends up as like the YouTube replay thing. Like when you hover your mouse over that and just see it's like, yeah, I did want to point out also, I told Mike this off camera, I just had a pint of blood removed a few hours ago, and I might have slept 2 hours last night. But I'm pushing through because I sat through this movie so I could talk to it with one of my best friends and you, our viewers. Yeah. Because fuck this movie. 3D House of Peef looked better than Jaws 3D. All right. Do we want to talk about that? Why this movie was 3D?
Because it was the shiny new thing.
It was the shiny new thing. They decided back in the 80s. Again, I want to point this out that pretty much from 82 till about 88, the baby boomers were the ones that ran everything.
Yeah.
Hollywood, it's not the Mason, not the Freemasons. It is just the boomers. So all that stuff that they remember being amazing when they were growing up, they brought back. And one of them was 3D.
Yeah.
And they felt like it would work really, really well with horror, like it did with sci-fi in the 50s and the 60s. So movies like Amityville. The third Amityville was Amityville 3D.
82 and 83, you had Friday the 13th Part 3D, Amityville 3D, and Jaws 3D.
Jaws 3D. Let's also not forget the classic Treasure of the Four Crowns, which I paid movie money for, like an idiot. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it literally had like the poor man's Fred Ward in it. Mindless nostalgia. Good thing it doesn't happen anymore. Exactly. And that is why we can let women and people of color and people in the LGBTQ community be themselves and be characters that we grew up with, and we're totally cool with that. God, Gamergate really just opened up something, didn't they? Anyway, I digress. Yeah. So that's one way that we could tell that it was 3D, because they gave up on the conversion. Second is a lot of this. Hey, let's feed the dolphins. I'm going to stick the screwdriver in something.
I'm shooting a harpoon gun.
And then the shark.
Along the string, too. You could actually see the string that the traveling on. And same thing happened in Friday the 13th Part 3.
The shark. The most infamous shot in this entire movie is the shark, who
swimming,
move.
Not moving, but swimming.
It was a toy that's just moving towards the camera. Matte lines about 1.5 inches thick. I mean, I don't want to hear anybody bitch and moan about the matte lines on the Rancor, which was released the same year. Okay, these things were like these things had their own zip code. They were so thick, and it just
had a pane of glass shatters apparently for no reason.
So that maybe everyone would be like, instead of, wait a second, the windows weren't that big. Right. Yep. Oh, I got one too. It's just
no, it's the same one.
It's Cicerone. All right. Did he just send something funny?
I have no idea. I'm
Okay,
reading
it's
it.
something. Yep.
There we go.
Oh, yes, I get it. All right. So anyway, yeah, back to the movie review, Mike.
Yes.
Stop looking at the Yoko Ono meme.
Oh, is that what it was?
That's what it was. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that it was just so clumsily done.
Yeah.
And you know what? I will say this about the movie is that I think we probably give it a lot more leeway and a lot more slack had it just been one of those shitty like Jaws cash-in ripoffs.
Yeah.
Instead of an actual entry into the Brody family saga.
Yeah. One that even the franchise quickly forgot about.
Yeah, they did, because it was only 4 years after. It's like, okay.
Soft reboot.
Yeah, the Superman Returns this one, didn't they?
Yes.
They oh god. So this is Dennis Quaid in one of his first major roles. I'm fairly certain he did TV before this. It might have shown up in a few movies. Oh, he might have shown up in a slasher movie, or I just might be thinking of Kevin Bacon. But
and we had
1983 It Girl, Bess Armstrong.
Yep. I mean, she was good, very good looking for the part.
Yeah, she was like, I always thought she looked like a Holly Hobby. You know, just like a modern day Holly Hobby, because she had like the Dorothy Hamill do. She always had that.
And I will say that they actually gave her some decent things to do. I mean, she wasn't just she was
the best written character out of everybody in the movie.
Easily.
Which certainly wouldn't have gone to Sean Brody, who shows up and then vanishes.
Right along with Leah Thompson.
Yeah, exactly. In her first role. So
2 years before Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, yeah. And 3 years before Howard the Duck.
Wasn't the star-making role that she had, that she was hoping for.
And then Academy Award winner, Louis Gossett Jr.
1 year after winning his Academy Award, too.
You know those cameras started rolling after he won that thing, too. So there are two stories out of that. I got to capitalize on this now, or else I'm going to be taking second fiddle to Jason Gedrick and Iron Eagle, parts 1 and part 2. Or he is just like, I can't get out of this contract. There were points in this movie, no joke, where, because his motivation was essentially, I don't care what it does, keep the park running. At some point, I expected like Dennis Quaid to be, why aren't you stopping it? And then he just like looks and he turns his head and just, and there's the shark in like this suit. It was me all along. It was the shark that killed your brother in the next movie.
It was a shark. The shark's mother. Where was the shark's father? Hi, Luke Gossett Jr.
It was so bizarre. It's like, what is your point other than to just be like, you can't do this?
Seriously, I mean, for a guy that like raised multi-million dollars to make this park happen, every single thing he does and every decision he makes things worse.
It is every single decision he makes is a bad decision.
How does he make that much money when everything he does is wrong?
Well, the other thing too is, and you think about it, and I'll defer to your girlfriend on this one, because in my knowledge, which is I'll admit limited in terms of how theme park insurance works, I don't think any company would insure an underwater, like that far down, underwater view tank where there are like sections of it, big tubing, staffed by the same teenagers that if they just lived a little further up north would have been working in an action park. Just saying.
Yeah, and not only that, but if there's any kind of leak, security doors close immediately and locks them in these little habitats until the leak is fixed. No emergency exits whatsoever. Yep. You're just underwater hoping that you don't drown.
Exactly. Not to mention the fact that there's no filtration system. Those aren't double paned windows, so they don't suffer leaks. You know, all the things that idiots like us know about. And neither of us has an engineering degree. I'm just going to point that right out. But I know how you can build a safe underwater tube walkway.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yep.
Because if the first thing breaks, then you've got a vacuum to suck that water out for the second one so it doesn't pierce through that. It's as easy as that, puts it back into the ocean.
Yeah.
But no. Let's just let most of these people die of hypothermia. Because there was that one old guy that even after they were saved, he was still like...
I was like, he's pretty much checking out right now.
I think he's dead. I called action like 5 minutes ago. Come on, Grandpa.
Yeah, directed. The movie was directed by Joe Alves. This is his only directing credit.
No.
And his connection to this franchise is he was the production designer for Jaws 1 and Jaws 2. They're like, we can't get Spielberg back. Who do we still have from the first movie? We got the production designer.
I'll equate. You know what? I'm going to equate that to being about as important as the guy who did who sat in the Boba Fett suit for Star Wars Episode 4, the special edition.
Yeah.
To hear any of his opinions of how awful woke Star Wars is now. It's like, it's the same thing. It really is.
Dude, you literally had 3 minutes of you literally had 30 seconds of screen time.
20 seconds of screen time. No one can see your face. You know, there are theme park characters who've had more input into Boba Fett than you have.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Joe Alves is just like, okay, yeah, great. You designed the sets, which, okay, they were all outdoor. They were using real towns and real townspeople. And I'm sure the booze was a flowing because there's nothing else to do in the winter on those lonely islands.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just,
yeah.
At least with Jaws 2, they had a director who had some heft. Because, you know, when we talk about Jaws: The Revenge, I don't know if Joe Sargent directed anything else, or Joseph Sargent. No, I'll deal with that next week. I don't even want to deal with it now. I'm dealing with this movie. This stupid movie that, shall we sit into our new position now on Jawstoberfest about things that the movie does that sharks do not do?
Sharks cannot swim backwards.
No. So sharks also, if they consume anything, don't immediately go and eat something else immediately after.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, but a live person cannot swim into the mouth of a shark and still survive. Like, he's in his throat. Yeah. And
it's like,
completely missing every single tooth.
Because the thing is that what's his name? Manimal. Yeah, I pulled that reference out. So Manimal gets eaten. He's still holding onto the grenade. And then the shark busts through in that unbelievably shitty special effect. And then eats Louis Gossett Jr.'s nephew. Yeah. Who is nowhere to be seen. So unless the shark bit him in half and both halves just kind of like float off, just waiting for the end credits, just like the beginning credits when that head of that fish sat there for far too long.
And the mouth was still moving. It was,
yeah.
That's a pretty active dead head.
So does this just mean that the shark didn't swallow Simon McCorkindale then? Because...
Well, no, because he was in the throat. He just got killed in the throat, but he was still whole. He never got chewed or anything. He was just, his body was just sitting there in the throat of this giant shark.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
No, it
actually.
Doesn't. But the entire climax of the movie depended upon it.
He made it past the teeth intact.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense at all. Not to mention the fact that how big was that? Was that shark supposed to be a 30-footer? Did they mention how big it was?
35 feet.
Okay. Even still, I mean, he was about a foot wedged in there. 6 foot tall man. I figure by that point, he might have hit the digestive system. He might have hit something.
Yeah.
That beyond the shark's skull. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, a lot of stuff that sharks just simply cannot do. Sharks, the other thing too, and we talked about this with Jaws too, sharks just don't go after every disturbance on the surface of the water.
Yeah, no.
There are two things they go for, and my son backed me up on this, and if anyone is going to know anything but all the facts about a great white shark, it's going to be an 8-year-old boy. Sharks have to constantly swim. They have to keep moving forward, or they will die. They have the great whites are the only ones that do that. They can only eat if they were to eat. They don't just constantly eat. They don't constantly chew.
Yeah, they go after a big, large target, and then they digest it for a while.
Exactly, and they usually they smell blood in the water. So the only times that they will attack is if blood in the water, because they feel it's something, a live thing that they can eat because it's food. Could be that the splashes feel like it's either prey or they feel threatened. And that is it. Sharks are not these mind. And again, I understand you don't have a movie if you don't have the shark you don't turn the shark into some kind of monster.
Right.
And out of all the movies, at least this one tried to rehabilitate sharks a little bit by, I'm just going to call him Stumpy, the baby shark.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's not attacking you. Well, because he's going to die. That's probably why. He's in the throes of death right now.
Again, let's take this this shark that we've just captured and just gotten back barely above health, and let's put him into a tank where a bunch of people can prod and poke him the whole time.
I'm going to make my investment back in the first weekend. Lewis. Oh, LGJ. This is it's just, like I said before, this would have been a better movie had it just been a shitty Jaws knockoff and not an actual Jaws movie, because...
Yeah. I mean, as shitty as it is, there's some goofy fun to be had with it. It's so stupid and so obviously cheesy that it's like, what? It's like MST3K movie. Some of the better MST3K movies, you can watch them on their own. They're not good, but they're just kind of fun.
Right. No, and I agree with you. I feel like there are, this movie, I mean, the other three, the three that aren't the original are train wrecks in their own right.
Yeah.
And I understand too, having working knowledge of how 1980s filmmaking worked and kind of what audiences were going for. Okay. I can understand why this was made. I can understand that it made a little bit of money, not a lot. Wasn't a huge hit. But, this is also the year that Return of the Jedi and War Games came out.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of other movies I can't remember right now.
Yeah. I was just watching. I was like, just seeing some of the effects. I'm like, I texted Andy, this was the same year Return of the Jedi came out.
Yeah.
And we got that versus this.
This is, there was that scene when they are taking like the little submergible down to check on the gate, and it's like, oh, did somebody wind that up first? Well, rounds and rounds of cocaine.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's your answer for everything. How did this movie get made? Cocaine. Blow. Come on.
How did this movie get made? I have no idea.
No, I know. Yeah. However, it's that submergible thing though, because you know what it reminded me of, and it wasn't because I can't even remember what movie it was, but
was it James Bond?
No, it was an MST. It was an ad on Comedy Central for MST, and it was the woman in the movie's like, "It's beautiful," and Crow's like, "It's plastic." And I don't know what movie it's from. It was from one of their promos from Comedy Central, but that's all I could think of. It's just like somebody, lovingly took this wind up toy, wound it up, put it in front of a camera in like a small clear tank of water, and then just said, "Okay, can you make the matte lines any thicker on that?"
Yeah, I was reminded of one of the Roger Moore James Bonds when he has like a Lotus that turns into a submarine.
Oh man, which one was that? That wasn't For Your Eyes Only, was it?
I don't know. I don't
Well, you know what?
The Roger Moores tend to blend together for me.
Well, they all do tend to blend together. There's legitimately two good ones. And I feel like, well, first of all, after we're done with Pixar, we're going 007. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. In fact, I watched the opening Casino Royale last night, as opposed to watching Jaws: The Revenge, which started today. You bastards better come back in and watch that when we do this.
We know. We
do this for you.
I haven't seen Jaws: The Revenge in so long.
I know, have fun with it. Because you've got till October 31st. Netflix wants to remind you. Or, you know what would be great, though, if you start watching Jaws: The Revenge and it's just like, are you sure? We've got Squid Game right now. You can watch that. That's a great show. Watch that instead. Why are you doing this to yourself? Are you reviewing this for YouTube?
I should start watching it at like Halloween night, like right before midnight, just so it ends before the climax. I'm like, now I'll never know.
Now I'll never know how she blew the shark up. Their traditional way of taking out a shark. You can't just kill them. You have to blow them up.
And have the jaws float and hang in front of the camera for a very long time.
Get it, folks? The jaws. Because, I love, too, that the explosion sound was an above-ground explosion sound and not an underwater explosion sound, which sounds 1,000 times different.
Let's also keep in mind that both Michael and Kay were underwater at the time. I would say within maybe 20 feet of the explosion.
Oh, yeah.
And shockwave, completely no effect.
Yep. Salivating over next week. Oh, yeah. You're going to hurt us bad, Kurt. Oh, boy. That's right. He's joining us. It's going to be so much fun. But, yes, Jaws 3D. Apparently, you can watch this in 3D. If you bought like the 3D Blu-ray player and the 3D TV from like 2009, you can get, like, they released all the Jaws movies on Blu-ray, and this was one of them in 3D. Like, you could watch it in 3D. I don't know why you do that, but it's there.
It seems very pointless to do that because it's just not a good movie either anyway. Yeah, that doesn't make it a better movie.
Do you want a cup of Dunkin' Donuts? How about a Coca-Cola?
Yes,
for more of their blatant product placement.
Well, never mind the fact that the movie was being done at SeaWorld.
Yes.
A SeaWorld that doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, a SeaWorld that they could probably use right now.
Yeah, that whole Blackfish thing.
Yeah.
Just saying. What's a few shark deaths? I will say, though, if anyone was going to get eaten by the shark, that I really kind of wish it was that big fat dude that kept bumping into Sean.
Oh, yeah.
Paddle boats. It's almost like, how? You've cast this extra who just looks like a meal.
I think at that point, the shark was probably just like, no way I can get my mouth around that thing.
No, man. But it's like, seriously, he was like the prototypical 80s fat guy, like shirtless, just this big dude, slack-jawed, little mustache.
Did he have suspenders? Like jean suspenders? He should have.
I'm not going back to watch it, but I'll just say yes. Because why not?
Yeah.
Every child in this movie is an awful person. Every other person who isn't Dennis Quaid or Bess Armstrong is a terrible person. Even Sean's just kind of a schlump in this movie. Like, what are you even doing here?
Oh,
he's here to do with Leah Thompson, which, okay, I can understand that, but still.
By the way, Leah Thompson, being only 2 years before Back to the Future, she looks so much younger here than she did in the past of Back to the Future.
Yeah, she did.
It looked like she was like 17 or 18 here versus like maybe mid-20s.
Yeah.
In the future.
All I know is that Dennis Quaid was close to 30 when this movie came out, and we are expected to believe that Mikey, who was a teenager, let's just say 17 in 1978, 5 years later.
Yeah.
I don't buy that Dennis Quaid would be 22 years old in this.
And have an engineering degree.
Exactly. Sean was like, what, 12?
Yeah.
That dude didn't look 17.
He was like 11 or 12 in Jaws 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Living on Amity, man, it ages you. Ages you hard.
Well, I can't like think of anything else to say about
I'm done. I'm done with this. Next week. And we have a special surprise for the last week of October, too.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you what that is. It's going to be good.
Well, I hope it's going to be good.
Well, it's going to be good, meaning that it's going to be like, oh, we're doing this, and Mike and I are just going to subject ourselves to it.
On the plus side, I'm hoping it'll be better than Jaws: The Revenge and Jaws 3D.
I hope so. Or else I'm upping my meds. So anyway, that was Jaws 3. Let us know.
I may have to break out this again because this is a good shark movie.
It is. It is a good shark movie, but that LL Cool J song kills me at the end. My hat is like a shark fin.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, what are your thoughts on Jaws 3D? We want to know. Leave a polite comment below. Where does this rank in your Jawsopathy? I don't even know what we'd call that.
I think the question is it better or worse than Jaws: Revenge?
Right. Or do you think it's better or worse than Jaws 2? I'd be actually more interested in that. Is it better or worse than Jaws 2?
I don't think many people are going to say it's better. Because at least Jaws 2 had Roy Scheider.
Yeah, at least Jaws 2 kind of like tried to pass itself off as being Jaws.
Yeah.
It looked like 70s filmmaking because it was 70s filmmaking.
Yeah, if you squint a little bit, it's like Jaws.
But let us know in the comments. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Have you seen this movie in 3D? I'd like to hear that too. How do the 3D effects work? Because this does not work for me. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to stay notified for all of our weekly reviews. We've got this going on all the time. I see you put your hand on the button there. Do we have someone commenting?
No. I was getting ready to end it broadcast.
Oh, okay. Yes. We put ourselves out of our misery. I like chew on a grenade. So anyway, Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check us out wherever you get your podcast from, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, you name it. We are there. Looking forward. We just did our countdown of the top 20 comic book movie villains and antagonists. Now we got to edit it. And it's going to be a two-parter because it's Halloween and we're lazy. So we'll try to work on that this weekend. But check us out there. Also follow us on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio and on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. Mike is wearing some of our fine swag that you can get at TeePublic. Just enter the keyword Geek Salad Podcast in. Get yourself some swag. And yeah. So I think that does it. I think that's it.
Yeah, because if we'll go much longer, my cat's going to bang down the door.
Okay, like a shark. And then she's going to back up and do it again, right? Because that's what sharks do. So anyway, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go for it. Stay out of the water, for God's sakes.
Yes.